Hey, Saigon Sam again, September 10, 2009. Listen, I just wanted to follow up briefly from the last video. I mentioned Dandy Pack cashews. Here's a pack of Dandy Pack Gold. I told you there were three main grocery stores here in Ho Chi Minh, and actually that's not true. There's probably more than I mentioned. There's Coop Mart, Lotte Mart. These are from a store called Vegy Mart, which is located in the Sky Garden complex in Phu My Hang, and every taxi driver knows Sky Garden. And I haven't found them anywhere else, unfortunately, so it's a bit of a drive, but they are quite delicious, and they run about, this is 250 grams for about $3. By the way, the other brands of cashews here, some of them I found that there's like insect larvae sometimes inside the cashews, if not actual developing insects. So I would highly recommend that after you rinse the salt off in purified water, that you toast them, you know, for, I don't know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Just don't burn them because you'll end up with a worse product than you paid for. But Dandy Pack in particular seems to be generally devoid of these kinds of issues. And as I mentioned, there is a video about them here on YouTube if you want to check out their processing. So that said, okay, as far as where to buy perishable imported food, I mentioned Annam is great for just about anything except perishable imported food. You can go to a place called Vegy. This is also at Sky Garden. It's Vegy. And Vegy basically is it's an imported food store. It's not cheap. You know, a typical, for example, a California avocado is going to run you, one avocado is going to run you about $2.50. An imported Amy's burrito. Amy's is a organic processed food company. I think they're out of the U.S. Is that an oxymoron or what? Organic processed food. But anyway, there you have it. It's Amy's veggie burrito. You're looking at about $3.50, which is twice as much as you pay in the States. But hey, you know, if you've got to have your junk food fix, there it is. They also sell Cascadian Farms, which has some really fantastic frozen raspberries, strawberries, cherries like that. They have Australian blueberries, imported blueberries, which are really quite excellent. All your basic, you know, steaks, turkey, chicken, beef, even salmon. Although the salmon they have is it's from somewhere in the region. I wouldn't eat that, I don't think. But if you've really got to have your imported meat, there it is. Also imported dairy, chocolate, bread, cereal, all the basic junk food that you could possibly want to kill your health with. And frankly, I think you're better off eating the local pesticide stuff than imported junk food, but it's up to you. A few different kinds of nuts, although for a nut supply, and nuts are extremely important here because if you're not going to be able to eat the meat, you're going to have to survive on something high quality, and nuts will do it. Annam is better for nuts. And again, any taxi driver knows Sky Garden. You can visit Vegy easily and have a look at their store. It's on the ground floor of the Sky Garden complex. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about another kind of veggie, V-E-G-Y, not G-G-Y. This is a product that actually I got at Coop Mart. This is one of the things that I do buy at Coop Mart. This is a great detergent. It's got basically liquid soap with salt in it. There's a few other things, but it's not particularly toxic. And I hope you can see that. And basically it's got this little cap, and you fill the cap with the solution, which is basically just vegetable wash, and you soak your vegetables in it. Now the instructions say that you should basically just mix it in water and basically put your vegetables in the bowl or your fruit in the bowl and wait 3 minutes and it's good. I really doubt that that's effective. So what I do with it, I only use it specifically for cauliflower and broccoli. I have another technique I use for other kinds of vegetables that have a smooth skin, which I'll go over in a minute. But what I do is I put a little cap full of veggie in about 2 liters of water, maybe 1.5 liters of water, and I fill it with broccoli just until it hits the surface of the water, and then I churn the broccoli with my hands, and it takes quite a while. It takes about 3 minutes until I work up a good bubble bath type of situation. And all the broccoli then gets churned through the suds, and you know I squeeze them and so forth so that I get all the pesticide residues and whatever junk might be on the surface off. And I do this, by the way, in a covered casserole. You know those 2 liter basically tempered glass bowls you can use for microwaving that have a glass top on them as well. You can completely cover things and steam them. They're great for steaming. And the other thing that's great about them is once I've finished this bubble bath process, I put the top on and then I rotate it and just basically let all the water drain out while the broccoli stays behind. And that leaves like semi-sudsy broccoli. What I do at that point is then I fill it again with about 1.5 liters of water, and I mix it up again to get more of that soap off, and I wash, rinse, repeat, literally like 2, 3, sometimes 4 times. And I'm doing this with tap water, by the way, until the broccoli is completely devoid of soap. And it's very important, by the way, to put the veggie wash in the water first and swish it around a bit. Otherwise, when you're eating, you're going to encounter that one piece of broccoli that absorbed all the soap because you poured it in one place, and that is a terrible experience, let me tell you. So don't do that. But after I've rinsed it out several times and it's devoid of soap, I then put the filtered tap water in, which you saw in my second video about water, and I basically fill the entire casserole with filtered tap water. And this serves to basically dilute the tap water that's on the vegetables. And then I drain that off. So the net effect is, you know, I've diluted down the really questionable tap water by a factor of 100 or maybe even 1,000. And at that point, any toxicity is essentially irrelevant. And then I steam it. I find that, as a general rule, I seem to never get sick if I steam things at least 4 minutes. Anything below that is kind of questionable. And of course, if you go too far over that, you risk nutrient loss and maybe burning the food. So typically, if I have a big 2-liter casserole loaded with vegetables, I'll steam it for about 8 minutes. It can take some time for it to get hot enough. You know, if you're talking 2 liters, a 1-liter casserole, maybe I'll steam it for 4 or 5 minutes. Now, how do I deal with other fruits and vegetables? Well, most fruits and vegetables, unlike broccoli and cauliflower, have smooth surfaces. For example, this American apple, which are available here in abundance. Coop Mart has them, for example. In this case, I don't use veggie wash. I use a more powerful anti-pesticide, which is simply dishwashing liquid. This is called My Hao. And My Hao is extremely cheap. It's less than $1 for like half a liter. And I just take one little drop, and I put a drop on the surface, and I rub all over the surface of the vegetable so that all of it, all the fruit or vegetable skin is covered in dish soap. And then I rinse that off in tap water. And after I rinse it off, and this is very important, I will take a paper towel or toilet paper and I will thoroughly dry the surface, and I'll dry my hands to basically get all the tap water off. And the reason is I find that if I drink as much as maybe about 1 milliliter of tap water, within an hour I'll get quite ill. So basically by drying it off, I eliminate that possibility. And then, you know, I'm free to eat it. Now, in the particular case of bell peppers and apples and other fruits and vegetables that are shaped like this, where it's concave on the top and convex and little bumps on the bottom, I only eat the middle part. That is basically below the top of the fruit all the way down to almost on the bumps on the bottom. Why do I do that? Well, when a plant is growing, when a fruit or a vegetable is growing on a vine or a stem, basically a lot of debris can come washing down the stem as it rains, which may include pesticides or fungicides or air pollution or who knows whatever has been gathering on that stem, and it tends to pool at the top of the fruit. So that's where you tend to find the most nasty stuff you don't want to deal with, even including fungus and the toxins that funguses produce. So I never eat the area immediately around the stem on top. And the same goes for the bottom, because water tends to drip. It tends to find the lowest spot on the fruit, which tends to be the bumps on the bottom, just like on a bell pepper or an apple. And it tends to drip off there and leave scaly deposits or chemical residue deposits or whatever. So I never eat anything up to the bump line. I basically eat between the bumps on the bottom all the way kind of to the apex of the top curve there. And I find that by following these really painful and annoying and time-consuming practices, I do avoid getting sick quite effectively. And I'd recommend that you try the same. Take care.